In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can scale your home service company from doing $1 million a year in revenue to 3 million, 5 million, 10 million plus. Really, the sky's the limit. Once you unlock a predictable marketing system for your business and you implement that, it is a huge piece of the puzzle when it comes to scaling your business. Not having to worry about where your next customer is coming from is a big unlock. And not only that, but if you can do so predictably and profitably, you're doing pretty good. So in this video, what I'm going to do is break down the exact steps, the different channels, different offers, tracking, budgeting, all of the things that are important to understanding sort of from a bird's eye view, everything that's going on with your marketing. Hopefully we're going to give you guys some sauce and some tactics that you can deploy into your business after watching this video, and also maybe shed some light on some things that you've been doing wrong or some opportunities that you're not capitalizing on. As far as why you should listen to anything that I'm saying in this video, my name is Bate. I'm one of the co-founders here at Trade Ops Consulting, along with my partner Yash. Together, we have over a decade of experience, not only in the trades running home service businesses. I've started, scaled, and sold my own multi-six-figure home service business. And also for the past, 6 or 7 years combined together, we've been running a marketing agency and a consulting firm where we've helped home service businesses basically with these big things right here. We've identified that these are sort of the 4 pillars that go into building a successful home service business. So branding, marketing, sales, and systems. If you find the stuff in this video valuable, definitely feel free to check out some of the links in the description to get in contact with us directly. And this is what we build for home service businesses. These 4 things right here. Super important. Your brand is going to feed your marketing. Your marketing is going to impact your sales, and your sales is really going to stress test or pressure test, your systems when it comes to actually running the service delivery side and the back end of the business. Generally speaking, when you're trying to scale your business, you've got 4 different kind of bottlenecks, and each one of them sort of happens in the same order. It's sort of like a snake eating its own tail, right? You kind of enter this loop or this cycle. A lot of times you're either missing one or multiple of the following. You either don't have enough money, you don't have good enough marketing or leads, you don't have enough manpower, you don't have enough actual people running the trucks, running the different operations, or you just don't have enough management. Management can actually come in a couple different forms. We can leverage software and other digital tools for this, but a lot of times, more traditionally, management is people that are taking care of managing and overseeing other people. And a lot of times it takes different skill sets and also sometimes different tools or different help from other people outside of your company to sort of unlock or allow you to move past a certain step in the cycle. But we're going to cover specifically in this video just marketing. We're going to go over marketing with a little bit of sales and a little bit of systems as well, because they all do kind of feed together. But that's really the main focus for this video. So first things first, let's cover channels. All right. Channels is really simple. It's just all the different methods, all the different means, all the different avenues or ways that you could acquire a customer or that a customer could find you. The golden goose, right? Everyone loves this one. Word of mouth or referrals, which is basically where one client of yours tells another client about yours and they come out and reach out to you directly. Referrals are layups, dude. These are easy. This is the bread and butter. If your business is not getting enough referrals, you probably need to focus on your management and your systems, your service delivery. We're going to talk about this down here as well. But if you're not doing a kick-ass job delivering the service and you're not going above and beyond for your customer, if you're not over delivering, if you're not giving them a reason to tell all of their friends how great you were, chances are we might need to address that problem first. All right. But I'm going to assume for the sake of this video that you guys are doing a kick-ass job. You cover all your details. You do what you're supposed to do when you're actually on site handling the service delivery side of the business, and that you treat your customers right. You go above and beyond for them. Believe it or not, referrals are super important. And there is actually strategies that you can use to accelerate the word of mouth process. And that is generally the big issue with referrals. We can kind of go through some of the pros and cons with each of these different channels. With referrals, the pros is that it's free. Most of the time, organically, at least, is not going to cost you any money. And a lot of times when you have a referral, as far as the sales process goes, it's an easy layup. You know what I mean? If you have someone that like, and trust tell you that this service-based business does a great job, what's happening there is it's so powerful because the customer's experience with you, they know you, they like you, and they trust you. And when they tell a friend that they should go also to your business, they are transferring a bit of that knowing, liking, and trusting from them to their friend. And then that person is coming to you already with the perception that you're the guy for the job, right? A lot of the times the sales process is just getting people to know you, like you, trust you, and understand that you have the solution to their problems. With referrals, the sales process is super easy. If you're not closing above like 70% of your referrals, you might have some sales training that you need to do, and that's okay. But generally speaking, referrals are going to be your cheapest leads, and they're also going to be your highest close rate leads. And if you just let word of mouth do what it does, unfortunately, just as human beings, a lot of times good news travels slow and bad news travels fast. So this is again why one of the pillars that we focus on is branding, because it's really important to not only develop but also maintain and upkeep a good positive reputation as well. But like I said, in this video, we're going to assume that you do a great job with your service and people generally speak fondly of you and recommend you. However, we can pour fuel on the fire when it comes to the word of mouth referrals, and all you need to do is properly incentivize people. I have taken dozens, in fact, at least over 100 consulting calls with home service business owners across different verticals, different industries. All of them say the same thing. You know what? I can't really get reviews. And, with word of mouth, it's, I sink and swim, it's feast and it's famine. And it's like, you can't really control what other people say about you if you don't have a system in place. And at the end of the day, the simplest way to get someone to do something that you want them to do is to properly incentivize them and put a strategy in place there. So when it comes to referrals, the easiest way that you can do this is have an actual reason for a customer to tell another customer or another potential customer about your service, right? And Alex Hormozy made a really great video about this. You have to understand when and what to sell existing customers. It's like if you went to a restaurant and you just ordered a steak and then the waiter comes out and is like, oh, if you really like that steak, I see you enjoyed it, would you like another one? It's like, no, I wouldn't like another steak. You know what I mean? So you have to understand kind of how and when to sell something to your customer. What I'm trying to get at here, the point in that is, if you want to incentivize one of your existing customers to tell someone else about your service, the best way to do that is to give them a reason to. But a lot of guys will try to give them discounts or take money off of an invoice. You don't want to affect your bottom line. You don't want to become unprofitable. The reason why word of mouth and referrals is great is because it's one of the lowest cost, highest close rate or conversion rate marketing channels. So we don't want to throw that off entirely. But you also want to give the person that your customer, the referee, person that's getting referred, you also want to give them incentive to actually act on that as well. If you're going to accelerate this process a little bit, there has to be a win-win-win scenario. So this is you, this is customer number one, the referrer, and this is the referee. This is customer number two. So there has to be money to be made for you. There has to be incentive for this person. There has to be incentive for this person. And then the end goal is for them to come back and actually buy something. Here's how it all works, right? When you complete a service for your first customer and they say, wow, that was great. You did a kick-ass job. You absolutely over-delivered. All of my expectations were exceeded. You did an amazing job. You can say, hey, customer number one, that was really awesome working with you. We're glad that we're able to deliver our service. You know what? We want to do something for you and also for your neighbors as well, or anyone that you know in the community that could also benefit from our kick-ass service. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you 3 gift cards, and each one of these is going to be good for, and this is where you can get creative, $100 off a service from one of our services, or 10% off a service, or whatever. You can get creative, but it should be a monetary incentive, right? So this can be a dollar amount, or it can be a percent off. Dollar amount is more tangible as far as the person receiving it, like what they're going to get. If you say we're going to give you 20% off, a lot of times it's like you can bake this into your estimate somewhere, so customers might be aware of that as well. But generally speaking, it's like a solid dollar amount off coupon. Makes a lot of sense, and also it feels tangible, right? People know $100 is $100, right? So you give customer number one $100 gift cards for your service, okay? And what you say to them is, for every customer that you, or for every friend, family, neighbor, whatever that you give one of these cards to that uses it, we're going to give you $100 coupon to a local steakhouse or a coffee shop or the restaurant in town that everybody really likes, right? So basically, when customer number one gives this $100 coupon to customer number two gets $100 off your service. And in exchange, you take that coupon that they give you and say, hey, we know who gave you this. We're going to give them a $100 gift card to Texas Roadhouse or Starbucks or whatever. So that's how you can accelerate your word of mouth and referral system, because a lot of guys understand the power of word of mouth, but they also know that if you don't give people a reason to continue to talk about you, it's not necessarily, people aren't going to go out of their way to speak positively on your behalf. Some of them might, and they will. And if it comes up naturally in conversation, that's great. But when you give them $300 worth of services, they feel incentivized. They're like, damn, I have $300. Like, I want to give this to people. And it gives them a really, really powerful reason. And also it's like, dude, who doesn't want to have dinner on the house, right? So giving people a reason to actually do that. Same thing with reviews, right? A lot of guys are like, oh, I don't know how to get more 5-star reviews on Google. It's like, incentivize your customers, dude. Be like, hey, look, I'm going to go to Starbucks. I'll get you whatever you want. If you can leave a review right now, that'd be awesome. I have a whole other strategy and method for getting reviews. You don't have to spend $1. And honestly, I would encourage you to not do that for reviews specifically. specifically, because there are just better free ways where you can actually get people to leave genuine 5-star reviews. We'll cover that in the future or maybe in another video. We spent a lot of time on referrals, but that is the referral accelerator system, if you want to call it that. Basically, properly incentivize people to take the action that you want them to take. Right. Next up, we've got door hangers. This one, depending on what service you're in, what industry you're in, what vertical you're in, this can be really effective or not. Great for exposure. Be careful with like canvassing laws in your area. Understand kind of the do's and don'ts of this. That's a little beyond the scope of this video, but maybe we can break that down in another one. But door hangers are extremely effective. The best thing that you can do with door hangers is don't disturb people. Don't actually knock on the door. Just leave it there. And a lot of times, if the service that you offer allows it, leave an instant quote on the door. So if you're doing like HVAC or lawn care or landscaping, identify a problem that they might have, and based on the averages of other clients that you work with in that area, or the size of their home or their yard or their systems in there, what you can see, what you can tangibly kind of look at and identify, give them a quote, give them a number, right? So that way they have an incentive to reach out to you, and you can mark the price down, be like, normally $399 X $299, and write it, leave it, order, design your door hangers so that you've got your name, your logo, branding stuff right here, and then you've got like the list of different services, and then maybe there's a blank sort of section at the bottom where you can write, if you need X service, here's our normal price, $399/$299, and then QR code to the website, phone number, instant contact details. Easiest way, most frictionless way for them to contact you as possible, right? So make sure you have the information in case they're actually interested, to be able for them to reach out to you and contact you about said service. But a lot of times with door hangers, really effective way to use them is to just have a price on the actual door hanger. Great pros and cons of door hangers. Cons, this requires time and money to distribute. It's pretty cheap. Canvassing, or print marketing is not that expensive. Door hangers, yard signs, truck lettering, mailers, all these things. The print materials are relatively inexpensive, but the time that it's going to take you to go out and distribute these door hangers, this is a great activity for like a rainy day, or, you know, if you have guys that want to make some extra cash or work some overtime on weekends, this is a great thing you can do. Another pro of door hangers, also with like yard signs and mailers specifically, is you're in control of the targeting. So you can be very deliberate about where you're placing your door hangers, your yard signs, your mailers, stuff like that. Do some research, figure out like the higher income neighborhoods, the places that you want to get more business in, right? And you can actually go and target those specific areas. So that's one thing I do like about print marketing, is you do have a little bit of control over the distribution. You can choose specific areas to go hang these up. And also door hangers, based off the time of year, you can do this 3, 4, 5 times a year, depending on like the seasonal services that generally hit around those times. So it's great if you want to be able to get multiple touches on one particular neighborhood, something like that. Yard signs. Yard signs are great. Obviously, we're going to target high traffic areas. The cons, sometimes these get taken down. Sometimes they blow away in the wind. I don't really like just like littering or like having junk flying around. But, you know, generally speaking, if you insert them into the ground properly and get like high quality ones, they're not going anywhere. And they can be really effective, especially high traffic areas. So think like schools, major highways or intersections, or also this can be a great thing that you can use for existing customers. You know, a lot of times it's pretty simple and easy to ask a client, if you're doing a project at their house, have the yard signs out in front, have like an A-frame sign, have something inviting people to come contact you, have a basically like a rolling billboard. You should have your truck lettered, you should have yard signs in the yard, like, you know, XYZ service under progress or in progress, with on like an A-frame sign. By A-frame, I literally just mean like the chalkboard type thing that they have hanging outside of restaurants where it's like special of the day or whatever. You should have one of these sitting by your truck. Truck should be lettered. Yard sign should be in the yard for a couple days, as long as possible, really, after performing a service at a specific property. And again, you know, this can be used for existing customers to get more people inside of that neighborhood that are walking by, driving by, whatever, either while you're at the property or a couple days after, and also in high traffic areas that are in public. Yard signs, couple quick tips. The ones that you're putting in clients' yards or in neighborhoods that you already service, this is where it's not a bad idea to have a fully branded, your name, your company, your actual phone number, and different services, stuff like that. If you want to place yard signs outside of your general service area, the biggest thing that I've seen with yard signs is like competitors will take them down, right? Or disgruntled people that don't like seeing them, or some dude that works for the town is going to go out there and take them all down. If that's the case, also, depending on where you're located, there might be certain licenses or registrations that you need to have to actually advertise your service. It's very particular, state to state, and also like industry to industry. But I have some guys that are have had their yard signs taken down by government employees because their business didn't have a proper license to advertise publicly that they perform a certain service. So yard signs, If you want to go outside of your general service area where there might be competitors or people that will like tamper or fuck with your signs, you can have a non-branded one, right? And by that, I just mean it says service and then your phone number. Super general. That way people don't really know what business it is. Going to be a lower conversion rate, but still, if you want to avoid just like the fuckery that can come with yard signs, sometimes that can be a good move. All right, next up, we'll talk about truck lettering. This is a must-have. At Trade Ops Consulting, what we do is we offer full branding packages. We can design your truck wraps. We can make some killer, badass truck wraps and branding for your business. But at the very least, dude, get a magnet with a logo, a name, and a phone number. If you want to do a little extra, you can get your website, but the big, bold phone number and logo, name of your business is super important. You know, a lot of guys that are, you know, if you're watching this video doing $1 million plus, you've got dedicated work vehicle stuff like that. I've talked to guys that are doing much less, lower six figures, whatever, and they're still kind of teeter-tottering between like, it's my work and my personal vehicle. Maybe they don't want to get it wrapped up and lettered, but you should be proud of your business, man. You should want people to know who you are and what you do. So wear it proud, get your truck lettered, man. And at the very least, order a magnet. They're like a couple dollars. You can get them designed pretty cheap as well. And at the bare minimum, like I can't even tell you when I was running my home service business, how many people would come up to me at stop signs, at gas stations, random places in public, just like on a Sunday where I'm like doing stuff in my personal life, just driving the truck around, and people come up and like, hey, yeah, I see the number, blah, what do you do? Can I get your number? Actually, my wife wants me to do this thing. Like, have your truck lettered, bro. You want omnipresence, right? The goal with marketing is omnipresence. You want everybody to see you all the time, everywhere. That is the main mission. Every touch point that you can possibly establish is going to be very valuable and important. So truck lettering is huge. If you're driving around town, you're literally thousands of people potentially are seeing your name, your phone number, and your business, getting those impressions, right? Brand awareness is really important. Let's talk about mailers. This is another print marketing method. So a lot of guys might know this as EDDM, everyday direct mail. There's kind of two steps to this process. The first one is getting your print materials put together. Some people do like handwritten letters. Some people do like brochures, like digital pamphlets, stuff like that. And basically you put them all together. You get a list of zip codes that you want to send these out to. And through the post office, most of the times you can just pay them to deliver these to the specific addresses or zip codes that you mentioned. Mailers can be effective. Generally speaking, it's a pretty low conversion rate method as far as getting specific or getting customers compared to running paid ads, compared to yard signs, compared to referrals, compared to website SEO, even Google and Facebook ads, organic social media as well. In my experience, EDDM or mailers is one of the more lower converting methods, but in combination with yard signs and door hangers, this is a great way to build presence in a specific area as well. So the same way that with door hangers, you can go hang them in specific neighborhoods, mailers kind of work the same way. You can list specific zip codes. You can pretty much target specific houses that you want to send them to. And you can get as personalized or not with these mailers as you want. So by personalized, I just mean like you can have like, hey, residents of XYZ city or area or whatever, or you can not even mention that. But you could also, if you do it by address, you could like kind of through legal means, of course, you could scrape the data of the people that live there and be like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, you know, we absolutely love your property. We've driven by a couple of times while we were working in the neighborhood. It's absolutely incredible. We'd love to help you with XYZ service. If you ever need anything, give us a call, or here's a quote for X specific service. This is kind of what we've quoted, and this is what we've done for some of your neighbors, blah, blah, blah. Kind of a similar strategy to the door hangers. Mailers, though, expect a much lower conversion rate. Generally speaking, people just see this as junk mail. Most of the time they don't get opened. It's going to end up in the recycling bin. But if you offer a higher ticket service, this is my big tip with mailers. I would really do this if you have a higher ticket service, because your conversion rate is going to be so low. If you want to send out thousands of these, you know, expect to spend like $7 or $8 grand. That's what I've gotten quotes and estimates for this on like the medium. Might be a little bit cheaper, might be a little more expensive depending on the volume that you want to do, but assume like a 1 or 2% conversion rate on these, right? So you're going to have to spend thousands of dollars to get really any meaningful impact as far as inbound leads. So mailers can be a little expensive, but still effective. And again, in combination with the other things, when it comes to entering a new service area or expanding your existing service area, they can be effective. All marketing methods are effective. 9 times out of 10, you're not spending enough money, you're not doing enough volume, or your targeting is, you just don't know what your copywriting and your actual marketing is just not up to snuff, right? All of these things work. Even in the 21st century, in the digital age, you'd think that maybe people prioritize more heavily sort of the digital stuff, which is very important and more impactful, more measurable as well. But some of these older school methods like print marketing are valuable as well. So don't write them off entirely. Next up, let's talk about Google Business, right? This, in the same way that referrals are your bread and butter for like in-person or physical marketing, or kind of like the lifeblood of your business, your Google Business profile is the lifeblood and the cornerstone of your digital presence online. Debatable whether it's more important or less important than your website, but the fact that a ton of local search traffic lands on the Google business profile, especially people on mobile devices, cell phones, a lot of traffic lands on these Google business profiles. And there is a lot of SEO, search engine optimization tactics that you can use to rank these Google business profiles similarly to the way you would a website. But one of the biggest factors, right? There's probably 17 or 18 really key factors that Google looks at on these profiles as far as where they're going to determine to show up in the rankings, but reviews is one of them, right? So if you're able to get 5-star reviews from your clients on your Google business profile, that is something that you can do for free that will 100% get you more exposure for your business. I think that there's way too many businesses that if you just Google search whatever service or whatever industry near me or whatever, and you look at the guys that are ranking in the top 3 Google business profiles on Google, a lot of them, like the reviews are going to be, possibly in the hundreds, at least double digits. And I know way too many guys that have been in business for like 5, 6, 10 years, and they have like 30 Google reviews. It's like, dude, that is not good enough, dude. You need way more than that. And Google reviews are very easy to get out of your customer if you know the right sort of like word pass and the right timing and the right, like when to do it in the sales process. I have a whole strategy and method for that worked extremely well for me for getting Google business profile reviews. So that's really, really important. Reviews are something that you can do completely for free. There are other paid SEO methods that you can use to increase the rank of your Google business profile as well. But your Google business profile is super, super important because, like I said, it is the cornerstone of your digital presence. I'm just going to very, very quickly kind of explain what a Google search result looks like. So if you search like HVAC near me, or, furnace installation near me, or, plumber, roofer, whatever near me. So this is the search bar. This is what you type in: XYZ service or contractor or technician near me. And then the first thing that you see is going to be the Google ads. These are like the sponsored posts. You might get like one of the Google guaranteed ones, or these are called local service ads. The ones up here, these are called search ads. We're going to talk about all these in just a second as well. So don't be overwhelmed breaking this down. And then you've got the map pack, right? So you've got the map right here, and then you've got like the 3 Google business profiles, and they all have their reviews right here. And then you've got the rest of the search results, which is websites. And this is called the Google organic search, or like the organic section of the search result. So you've got Google ads at the top, Google business profile in the middle, and then organic SEO or websites kind of at the bottom. Google business profile is huge because a lot of times if you're not running paid ads, you're not going to show up in this top section. Websites are still very impactful, and a lot of desktop users will click on websites. A lot of people in the older demographic will still go to websites, but a lot of mobile traffic lands on Google business profiles, right? And it's very easy to understand why Google business profiles are important, because when you click on one of these, you get to see pictures of the business, you get to see reviews and social proof, you get to see links to social media's websites. So a lot of times the Google business profile might not be the thing that converts the lead. By convert, I mean call or fill out a form or schedule an estimate. But the Google business profile for a lot of businesses might just be your first point of contact. They might go to your Google business profile, look at your reviews, then either call you from the Google business profile or go to your website or go to your social media pages. And I'm going on a little bit of a tangent, but it'll be worth it, I promise. A lot of times right now, the world that we live in, like consumer behavior is changing a lot with the internet. So it's important to really have all of your bases covered, right? And there are so many different ways that things have changed with the social media, with Google, with ChatGPT. And this is sort of like the general user experience that some people have. And we have software, we have dozens and dozens of businesses that we've worked with and implemented this stuff. We have tracked all these things. We have data on this, right? So I can tell you this, speaking from experience and looking inside of the accounts of some of the businesses that I work with, this is sometimes what happens. So a younger person like myself might go on ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will recommend to look at a Google post or a Google business profile. And then someone will click on the Google business profile and they'll see, oh, this guy has 5-star reviews. I wonder what his social media looks like. And they'll go over to social media and they'll click on your Facebook. And your Facebook will have some pictures of your, most recent projects and before and afters, maybe some value posts, some stuff like that. They're like, oh, that's cool. And they'll click and they're like, oh, this video is interesting. Maybe I need this thing. Or like how homeowners know when they need to get their AC replaced, and takes you to a YouTube video on your YouTube channel. And the YouTube channel has a link to your TikTok or whatever. And then eventually they get back to like your website. And then the website is where they fill out the form on your contact page that says, hey, my name is XYZ. I need this problem solved and I'd like to have you come take a look at it on this date, or I live in this zip code, whatever. What I'm trying to get at here is that having all of these different things set up and ranking and performing is really, really important for visibility, because if the first step is missing, like I said, a lot of traffic lands on these Google business profiles, and that's sort of the start of the customer journey, customer experience, right? So they might not convert from the Google business profile, but if you're not in this 3-pack, if they have to click show more businesses or at the bottom show more websites, no one's doing this. If you're not on the first page, you're dead to Google. The amount of traffic that you're getting might as well be nil. So you have to be ranking in this 3-pack, and you have to be in the top at least 1 to 3 organic search listings as well. So your website. And again, the importance of this is because the customer journey, when they're looking for a business to solve their problem, regardless of what it is, it's not linear anymore. And there's so much information out there, and there's a lot of different ways that people interact with these different platforms where it might look more like this. And you've got like your Google business profile, your website, a YouTube channel, Instagram page, a Google business profile, a website, all these different things and places where they can see your business is legitimate, interact with you, stuff like that. And then also if you want to throw into like, oh, I've also seen that guy's yard signs around and he sent me a thing in the mail. I think I recognize that company. And oh yeah, I've definitely seen that guy with his clearly branded truck that we recognize, from a mile away. So that's kind of what the customer experience looks like. And it's not always like click on Google business profile, call, visit the website and fill out the form. Right. So this is why, from kind of a bird's eye view, why it's important to have all of these different channels working for you. You don't have to implement all of this right at the start. If you're doing this yourself, that's kind of overbearing. But if you guys are, again, I'm kind of framing this through the lens of like, we're doing $1 million at least here. You've probably have a couple of these things set up. Maybe they're not fully dialed in, but you've got a general grasp and understanding that like, hey, here's all the different ways that we need to be advertising our business. So that's your Google business profile. Biggest thing you can do for free right now today, get more reviews. A couple easy ways you can do this. First of all, implement it into your sales process. Get customers to leave reviews on their phone in person before you leave a job site. As soon as they hand you a check or they're asking how they can pay you and they say, hey, you did a great job, with a smile on their face, that is when you should be saying, hey, like if you got 30 seconds, it'd really mean a lot to us if you could just head over to our Google business profile and leave a review. Matter of fact, here, scan this QR code and I'll just show you how to do it real quick. It'll take 10 seconds. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you do 1 star or 5 stars, just please leave an honest opinion. It helps us get more business and also improve on anything that maybe wasn't up to snuff. But ideally, you want to frame it like you're going to get a 5-star review. It's pretty awkward as well if you're standing right next to someone and they're giving you a 3-star or 2-star review on your business. It just doesn't happen, right? So close the deal in person. Get reviews in person. That is the biggest sauce. That's the biggest game that I can give you. We have exact sales scripts, exact processes for all this stuff as well inside of our programs. So if you need more like do this exactly kind of assistance, then check out some of the links in the description of this video. A couple more things I could talk about here, but for the sake of time, let's move on. Website and SEO. Again, we already kind of covered this with like the non-linear path or experience of a customer. Website's really important. We can kind of bundle Google ads in with this. We'll cover pros and cons of these separately, but ideally you want to be omnipresent, right? That's the goal with marketing. So if you're running Google ads and people see you at the top of the page right away, you're one of the first names that's going to pop into their head that they're going to see. Then you're also showing up in the map pack, which is this, 3-pack of Google business profiles that are at the top rankings. And also you've got your website number 1 as well. This is 3 points of contact, 3 different times that someone, homeowner that is looking, literally has typed into Google, I need this service done. They are looking for their problem to be solved. And if you can show up in all 3 of these places, your chances, like just literally imagine that it's sheer dumb luck. Let's leave all sales, let's leave marketing, let's leave copywriting out of it. Let's just say that I randomly squiggled my mouse around and clicked, and whatever I clicked on was going to be the business that I was going to use to hire for whatever problem I had. If you're taking up more real estate on this first page, your chances of being selected are going up, at least in comparison to the people with less. Now, it's obviously not random. It's not like that, but I'm trying to paint a picture in your mind as to why it's valuable to be in all of these different slots, right? You're appearing like way more of an authority to the customer. And also just, if you make it hard for them to click on anything other than your name or your business, like, dude, you're going to get more leads. It's that simple. So you want to be running Google ads, local service ads, especially. These are awesome, especially for home service businesses. Google business profile is a mandatory one. There's a lot of things you can do. Also, I already kind of touched on Google business stuff, but But if you've been in business, if you're one of those guys, like I said, that's been in business for 5 to 10 years and you have 30 reviews on your Google business profile, but you've got 1,000 or plus contacts or existing customers in your CRM or in your phone or whatever, do what's called a database reactivation. Or, I mean, that's more of a marketing thing, but basically you've got 1,000 people that you could go back to and ask for a review that didn't. So all the people that you know haven't left a review yet on your profile, go back and ask them, send them a quick message. And again, we have scripts and stuff for all of this stuff, how to ask customers for these reviews and do it effectively and efficiently as well. Definitely take advantage and do that if you haven't already. Website and SEO, again, really, really important to be showing up in this top organic search section, taking up as much real estate on the first page of Google as possible. Website and SEO stuff is a bit technical. Basically, the biggest thing though, if I could give you one piece of advice that'll make sense without going into like SEO jargon, just make sure the content, the words on your page accomplish one or two, ideally both goals, where you want to communicate to Google what you are, or like who you are, what you do, and where you do it. Those are the three things that if you can, in the writing on your website, communicate to Google, you will do much better than the average person that just kind of throws some ChatGPT slop on their site. The second thing that you need to do is also communicate to your customers, right? So that's kind of the balance or the trade-off with SEO and also the conversion rate on websites. You want to optimize for Google so that it shows your website higher, but then you also need to have some stuff in there for your customers as well. Because if you were to make a website purely for ranking, it might not look so pretty for a customer. It's just going to be huge blocks of text that are like optimized perfectly to give Google exactly what it wants to show up for HVAC services near me or whatever. So there's a little bit of a balance there, but also making sure that your website is conversion rate optimized. If you've got a lot of website traffic, but you don't get a lot of leads, like there's chances are there's something that we can do with your site to make sure that the people that are visiting actually convert and become paying customers, right? Big things, click to call. So anytime there's a phone number on your website, if you can't click on that and it actually dials your phone number, that's a huge opportunity that you're losing out on. Click to call and also forms to fill out above the fold. So like if this is the home page of your website, ideally you're going to want like a phone number and a contact form and maybe like a more info that goes to the contact form anyway. All of this is like the home page, and then like maybe a quick like messaging of like who you are, what you do, where you do it, like your branding or like your company missions and values. And then in the background, this white space here is like a slideshow of some previous work and pictures as far as like a layout for a homepage, right? So basically there's a bunch of different ways that someone could literally, without scrolling, without swiping, without doing anything, they can click in multiple places on this screen here. Right when they land, right when the website pops up on their screen, immediately there's no question about what they have to do to get in touch with you. So that's really, really important too. Quick little website tip is make sure you're optimizing for Google, but also for customer experience while they're on the website. Make it easy to get in touch with you. Next up is Google Ads. Let's talk about Google Ads. So biggest thing to mention with Google Ads is Google, Facebook, or Google and Meta, Instagram, Facebook, across the board, paid advertising on digital platforms, your cost per lead is going up. That's something that is happening across all businesses that are advertising on Facebook, Instagram, Google as well. There are more businesses, there are more eyeballs on the internet, which means that more businesses are advertising on the internet. There's only so many eyeballs to go around, which means that the slots that you can occupy or pay to be in, the value of those slots has gone up. So there's more businesses competing for the same amount of eyeballs, and the value of those eyeballs, depending on what you're offering, also is expensive. So ad costs across the board for even industries outside of home services are going up, right? Like Facebook and Google is not what it used to be. I remember in like 2020, you could run Google ads and get leads for like $15, $20, even in like HVAC or tree services, stuff like that. But now that's like, it's basically impossible to do. So chances are with your paid ads like Google or Facebook, you're probably not spending enough. The barrier to entry is extremely low as far as like the creative and the copywriting that goes into your ads. Just kind of break this down a little bit simpler. I'm using some marketing jargon that some people might not be super familiar with. So copy or copywriting is any written words that are a part of your advertisement. And then creative is any visuals, so videos, images, pictures that you're displaying in your ad as well. I say all that to say, most of the time, home service businesses or even the agencies that are running these ads for these home services, their copy and their creative is not that great. It doesn't have to be great. We're not doing like high pressure, like direct marketing or like, it's just a totally different target customer than like some of the more intense digital marketing that you've probably been exposed to just in general if you've been on the internet in the past 10 years. Anyways, the barrier to entry for the copy and the creative is pretty low for home services. People don't really have crazy expectations. You don't need to like hard pressure sell these people. So most of the time it's just like you have to spend more money, dude. These leads are expensive, man. And yes, there are a lot of things that you can do to improve conversion rates with copy and creative, but a lot of times people just have misaligned expectations on what the actual cost per lead is or what they're going to have to spend to get a customer. Google ads in the past year has gotten very expensive. I will say that across the board, across all industries, does not matter. Google ads have gotten more expensive. Facebook and Meta ads, or Facebook and Instagram, Meta under the umbrella all as one, are still expensive, but like generally a little bit cheaper, but generally low quality as well. We can kind of go into the breakdowns. Understand though that when it comes to these paid ad channels across the board, prices have gone up. So you have to be prepared to spend more. And like I said at the beginning of this video, the companies that can afford to spend more to acquire a customer are generally the ones that win in the end, because it doesn't matter if Facebook's prices have gone up. It doesn't matter if Google ads get more expensive. The people that can spend more money to acquire a customer will continue to do so, and they will get more customers and you will get less, and eventually they will put you out of business, right? So that is the harsh reality of marketing and advertising, is doing this stuff effectively with a system, with a plan. It is your best bet at survival, because you're going up against some other very big players depending on your industry where people are spending tens of thousands of dollars a month on these ads, especially Google that uses a bidding system. Like if you've got competitors that are bottomless pockets, you're going to have a hard time competing with that. Let's get into some more tactical stuff though. Google ads are going to be more expensive, but generally much higher quality of a lead, only because like we showed you here with the Google search result, or people are typing in like HVAC tech near me. They have a problem. They are ready to buy. They are what we would call in marketing language, the bottom of funnel, like people that have their credit card out in their hands and are saying, hey, who can do the thing? I'm willing to pay to do it right now. I need this problem solved. That's bottom of funnel. Google is high intent. People that have the problem are looking for the solution and are right there ready to buy. Like these are hot leads, we would say. These are customers that are ready to spend money. Google is great at getting those kinds of customers. Facebook ads, generally, you're going to get a little bit more tire kickers, little people that are, less serious. There's a lot of bots on Facebook as well. Google, not so much. It's still an issue, but if you do some geo blocking and stuff like that, you can get Google ads to be a little bit more accurate. But yeah, Facebook, generally speaking, a little bit harder to convert as well. Again, Google ads, you're placing an ad in front of someone that already knows they have a problem that they need to get solved. Facebook, you've got the average person that's on there to like consume content and like just kind of brain rot and scroll and mindlessly kind of consume shit. They're not going on to Facebook to look for their HVAC guy. They're going on to Google to do that. So with Facebook, you need to be a little more creative. There needs to be a little more effort that gets put into the ads on the front end, whether you're doing image or videos for the ads. So generally, like one of the cons of Facebook would be it's more setup. It might involve you as the owner or whoever is on your marketing or sales team to like get in front of the camera, do some good videos, run some good ads, get some good creative. It's a little more front end work. Generally though, the leads are going to be a bit cheaper. However, you get what you pay for. Cheaper leads generally means slightly lower quality. Not impossible. Facebook ads are still viable, but generally speaking, your Google ads, like you will get what you pay for, and the people that you're spending money on as far as leads are generally more ready to buy. Google ads are also a lot easier to set up and kind of get a campaign up and running. And after 3, 4, 5, 6 months or so straight running Google ads, they can get pretty dialed in where they require a little bit less. It still requires maintenance and like, daily or weekly check-ins on the ad account, but you're doing less work. With Google ads, a lot of the work is done on the front end. Facebook, you're also going to have issues like ad fatigue, where if you're running the same video over and over and over, like it just burns out and people see the same thing. If they didn't engage with it the first time, they're probably not going to on the second. So you need to constantly kind of feed Facebook new ads in order for it to really work, especially with some of their new algorithm updates. It's called Andromeda. It's kind of changed the way that you would structure Facebook ads. Really requires a large variety of creative to work effectively. So Facebook, you kind of need to feed it some images, feed it some text, feed it some videos, really cover a bunch of different angles. So Facebook ads require a little bit of effort. It's much easier with Facebook ads if you're working with an agency and ideally like a photographer or someone that can do some professional quality video. I mean, give you scripts, give you layouts, give you handbooks, all the stuff that you need to do, where you can basically just like show up, record it, and then hand that off to an agency or something and let them run the ads for you. Facebook groups, this is probably like the bottom of the barrel as far as leads go. I, generally speaking, am not a crazy huge fan about Facebook groups. A lot of times times this is where you end up with like the Chuck in a truck, the Stan in a van, sort of the fly by night side hustle people post in Facebook groups and will fight for the leads in Facebook groups. If Stacy from down the road posts, I need a landscaper, I need an HVAC guy, I needed this, you can see immediately under that post, there's going to be dozens of people recommending or commenting, hey, my business can do this. Like Facebook groups can be great if you're just getting started or you need your first couple leads. It's still good to be present in these Facebook groups. If you're doing $1 million plus, your higher leverage activity or marketing channels, as far as like the time and the money that you're going to put into them, you're better off going elsewhere. But Facebook groups, it can be worth it, especially once you've been in business for a couple years and you've got clients or people that are in these groups that can kind of, market your business in there on your behalf. But if you're doing $1 million plus and you're trying to go to 3 or 5, Facebook groups are an important part. I wouldn't leave any stone unturned when it comes to marketing, but this might not be the biggest bang for your buck as far as, time and money spent to do something like this. And last but not least, we have social media, organic social media. So this is like your TikTok page, your Facebook page, your Instagram page, YouTube channel as well is something that's really important that a lot of people sleep on. These are all important. The biggest thing with marketing to understand is that all of these different channels feed into each other. And I've said it several times throughout the course of this video, but really the goal here is omnipresence, right? Someone might see your post on social media organically, and then they go from there, they click on your website, and then they're like, oh, this is the website. How do I find like this person's reviews? So they might search your name on Google, pull up your Google business profile and be like, oh, cool. Okay, got it. And then a client or, a friend of theirs might refer you, or they drive home from work and they see your yard sign. And then a month later, they get a thing in the mail from you. So it's like all of these things really work together. They're very synergistic. And the more of these channels that you have up and running and are profitable and are working for you, they start to work for each other as well. Generally speaking, it takes about 7 times for someone to see your business, understand the messaging or, whatever your slogan is or whatever, for it to actually become kind of part of their memory, for them to sort of on recall, be able to be like, oh yeah, that's the HVAC guy. That's the plumbing guy. That's the electrician, whatever. Or like to memorize a jingle, like Nationwide is on your side, all that. How many times did you get blasted with that commercial before you remember it? And like cartoons or commercials from your childhood, you can still remember it to this day because it was just repeated to you over and over and over. And they definitely got their 7+ impressions in before they just became basically like burned into your freaking memory. That's why it's really important to have all these things kind of dialed, because your organic social media might not be the highest driver for leads or conversions, but it's really important and it fits into the puzzle in its own way, and it does have a piece. And also more and more, websites are very important, but other places in the world and in different industries, Facebook pages are really, really valuable. And a lot of people use like a Facebook or an Instagram page sort of as like a company portfolio, where it's a much easier access thing for clients or potential prospects. It's very similar to the Google business profile as far as like the user experience, where someone can go on there, they see your reviews, they see posts, they see pictures, images, client testimonials. Maybe they get to see your face, videos of you talking, pictures of you and your team. So they start to kind of build this image in their head of like who you are, what your business is, who they can expect to see when they're working with you, that kind of thing. So that's where organic social media is really powerful. Organic social media, it's hard for targeting. I mean, you can tag locations in your posts. That doesn't guarantee that social media, like platforms like Instagram or Facebook, are going to push out your content to people in your actual area that you tag, so your town or whatever. But still, it serves its role. It's still important. Generally speaking, like you can do it for low cost. I work with several people that have photographers and videographers that come to job sites with them, and they take it pretty serious and it works for them. It definitely is a reputation builder and sort of an instant credibility sort of thing. If someone does look you up on Instagram or Facebook and you've got 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 followers and a lot of really quality produced content, it's much bigger of a branding thing. Like I said, it might not be the thing that converts the leads, especially if you're, talking about the older demographic of homeowners that are definitely not on Instagram or Facebook looking for these types of things, but it's still really important and it does serve its role. And like I said, it shouldn't be discounted just because it's not creating leads for your business. It's definitely a part of the overall branding and marketing system, and it does have an impact, right? A lot of times, even just like in a sales situation, it's pretty easy to be doing a property walk or you're in someone's house and you can just quickly pull up your Instagram or your Facebook and kind of show pictures of your work. It's easier than going on a website or something. Organic social media profiles have their place. It sounds crazy after me discussing all these things and how it might not be like a main driver for leads. You should put effort and allocate some resources to building up your social media presence, specifically on the following platforms. You want TikTok and Instagram and Facebook for sure. YouTube is also really powerful. Obviously, Google owns YouTube. So as far as showing up in search results, making videos like HVAC services in XYZ town and have a quick like video sales letter of like you and your team doing work and a quick like, hey, we're so-and-so company. We do services here, here, and here. That video can actually rank and show up in Google searches for HVAC services in XYZ city. So YouTube is a big one that I think not a lot of companies are utilizing properly. LinkedIn, Pinterest, and Reddit are also important. And those are a little bit more obscure as far as like people not necessarily using them in their day-to-day life. But what is really important about some of those additional platforms is all of them: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Reddit. All of these different social media platforms are what ChatGPT and other large language models or AIs are sourcing information and data from. And so your Google business profile and your website in Google search, super duper important. But your social media presence is also really big when it comes to the difference between you showing up in like a ChatGPT prompt, right? If someone searches on ChatGPT, like what's the best HVAC company in my area? Now, for clarity, only about 10% of local service searches are being done on ChatGPT or other AI models. But in the future, you can only expect that that number is going to increase. But the biggest thing to understand is that ChatGPT is trained on and sources and pulls its information from places like Google, places like YouTube, places like Facebook, Reddit, all these other social media platforms, right? It's pulling data from all of these. And that's what it's getting trained on. And that's what's formulating its output. So if someone searches like HVAC technician near me on ChatGPT, the more signals that you can provide on the internet, so the more places that you show up, the more places where you have a brand and like a recognizable name and influence and impact, the more likely you are to show up in those searches. So that's something where like you want to hedge your future bet on ChatGPT absorbing more and more search volume. Right now for home services, Google is still dominant, but you know, in 5, 10, 20 years, that might not be the case. So if you plan on being in business for a while, putting some effort into some of these other more obscure platforms or social medias for the sake of having a higher impact on ChatGPT outputs might be something that you can get a huge edge if you start kind of planting those seeds now. So I talked about an absolute ton here. You can see on my my graphic that we've got a lot more to talk about. We'll break this down into other more bite-sized videos. I talked a lot about the different marketing channels. We'll talk in the future as well about like offers tracking, budgeting, stuff like that. But for right now, if you are not implementing all of these different channels, chances are you are leaving leads and money on the table. So the first thing that you need to kind of crack if you want to take your business from 1 million to 3 million is you need leads, right? No work means you don't have full calendars and you can't hire more people comfortably, and ultimately the more customers you get, the more customers you get. So that's why marketing and using all these channels to your advantage is huge and very important to understand. I hope you found something valuable in this. If you did, make sure you leave a comment and let me know what you thought. If you guys need help implementing complete done for you marketing systems, or if you want to learn how to do it yourself, be sure to check out the link in the description, book a call with me or my partner, Yash, or a member of our team. We'd be happy to help you here at Trade Ops Consulting. Looking forward to talking to you soon. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. We're going to talk about all this stuff in the future. All right. Hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right. Peace.